coming back off of an injury, you was expecting fireworks similar to when Caitlin Clark returned for her first injury this past year, but we got none of that. We got a ass kicking, we got a blowout, we got a beat down by the Golden State Valkyrie, which is one of the best defensive teams in the league. Nally Nataske should be the head coach of the year for the WNBA. What Nally has done for the Golden State Valkyrie, she has created a culture. She has really created a team where that runs 10 to 11 deep on the basketball court. It's like they took a bunch of miscast players and they put them on a team for because we know it's a lottery, so you have to protect players. All these players weren't protected, so they got to be selected by the Golden State Valkyrie, and everybody plays the same way. Nobody's bigger than anybody on the team. They play with a lot of ball movement. They play defense. They're all the same size. What Nally has done for the Golden State Valkyrie, she's created a culture. She's created identity, and that's what you like to see. They play hard. They play aggressive. They're the third-ranked defensive team in the WNBA. And if anybody would have thought that as of right now, a franchise in its first year in its extension, like the first time ever of this franchise being a part of the WNBA, they have a better record than the Indiana Fever, who won the headlines and won the off seasons, being signing the Wanda Bauer and signing Natasha Howard, and they come in to Indiana in the first game back with Caitlin Clark returning, and they whoop their ass. They make the Indiana Fever shoot their worst percentage of the season. The Indiana Fever shot 23% from the three-point line. So shout out to Natalie, shout out to the Golden State Valkyrie, and just shout out an expansion team who is really doing what most people consider the impossible. Because when you think of expansion teams, you think of teams that are going to just be horrible. And they're supposed to be the next year's number one overall draft pick, but they got real players on their team. Burton was the number 7 overall pick in 2022. Thornton she's 29 years old. She's a vet in this league. Hayes, is a two-way player. They got real players on their team, and they got players that all complement each other and all are the same size and all play defense and all play hard. And Natalie has really created a culture with the Golden State Valkyrie. But this is an embarrassing loss by the Indiana Fever. Losing 80-61 to a team where they're just like the Indiana Fever. They're a mid-team right now for as the record shows. But the Indiana Fever are coming off big-time victories and big-time wins, even though they lost to the Los Angeles Sparks, but they won the Commissioner's Cup. They beat the Las Vegas Aces. So they were building something, even though Caitlin Clark has been hurt. So when Caitlin Clark's coming back, you're expecting a team to be a little bit more fireworks, a little bit more energetic, and come out with a little bit more like, yo, we got our captain back. We got our best player back. It's time to go on this run. Hopefully, this is just a wake-up call. Hopefully, Caitlin Clark can ingratiate herself back into the lineup, and the team can, I'm pretty sure they're going to be fine. But right now, 9-10 on the regular season for the Indiana Fever and for the Caitlin Clark. I know Caitlin Clark has missed games, but this game was atrocious, and this game really points out some of the leaks in the offense and also just with the Indiana Fever. And when we talk about leaks, we're talking about just sometimes when Caitlin Clark plays, she's so good, she's so great that it just seems like coaching just stops. In comparison, when Caitlin Clark wasn't on the basketball court, it was a lot more ball movement. It was a lot more pin downs for players. It was a lot more offensive continuity. There's a lot more things happening. But when Caitlin Clark is involved in the offense, why can't some of those same things be incorporated? Caitlin Clark has the most unassisted baskets on the season, meaning that she scores the most points by herself. She also generates the most points when we're talking about passing and scoring in the WNBA. So she is generating for her teammates. She's generating for herself, but she's also the most unassisted for scoring in the WNBA, meaning that she has to create all of her points and opportunities by herself. That's not a formula for success, with the expectation of Caitlin Clark is also going to have to be a generator for everybody else. And I know she plays a unique play style, and I know that she is the greatest generator we've seen in the history of the WNBA. But at the same time, we've seen Stephanie White be able to incorporate more ball movement. We've seen Stephanie White be able to have an offense, have flow, have continuity, have touches, have Natasha Howard be the point forward sometimes. We've seen that when Caitlin Clark is out. So it's up to Stephanie White and it's up to the Indiana Fever's coaching staff to incorporate a system that's going to still allow Caitlin Clark to be the Caitlin Clark that we love, the Caitlin Clark that we enjoy, the Caitlin Clark that's electric, but also incorporating a variation of offense where Caitlin Clark is also getting easy open looks. Also, the offense is flowing without Caitlin Clark. When she's off the court, when she's on the court, they're playing within a system. It just seems like it's hit or miss. When Caitlin Clark is playing, everything is on Caitlin Clark's shoulders. When she's not playing, there's more offense, there's more flow because there's more ball movement. That's why you got Carol Peck coming out and saying, well, the Indiana Fever are they're a dangerous team without Caitlin Clark. They're not a dangerous team. They just play different styles of offense because of the fact that Caitlin Clark has a lot more responsibility when she's on the court. And when she's off the court, you have to have players able to get open and easy shots and get buckets, because without Caitlin Clark, they're not necessarily finding those easy lanes and those seams in the offense because she's not creating for them. So you have to incorporate a system. You have to incorporate more ball movement. You have to incorporate more sets and pin downs off of with Kelsey Mitchell going to her left. You have to do all those things, but you have to figure out a way where you can combine the two, where you can have the excellence and the greatness and a unique style of play with Caitlin Clark, as well as an offense that's going to fit for not just the team outside of Caitlin Clark, but with Caitlin Clark incorporated, and for everybody to have success. Because what's going to happen is you're going to run up to a situation where teams that are more physical than you, that are going to rough you up, that are not going to allow Caitlin Clark to beat them, and are going to make sure that they're physical, they're aggressive, and game plan and scheme for Caitlin Clark. And then if your other teammates can't find any rhythm, or there's no offense, or there's no motion offense to allow the other players to get involved, or Caitlin Clark's not running the offense, she's just being the Caitlin Clark show and generating points for herself or for everybody, then you're going to run up to a situation, to a team that's going to game plan for that, and then you're going to be out in the first round of the playoffs. Every 10 seconds, when the ball got down to 10 seconds in this game against the Golden State Valkyrie, they trapped Caitlin Clark. That was her game plan. When Caitlin Clark has the ball, they're pressuring her, they're face guarding her, they're putting their hands on her, they're getting up tight, they're getting her airspace. They're making it very hard for her, using her hands, and they're switching as well. They got the Golden State Valkyries have players that can just switch every possession also, as well as they're blitzing every 10 seconds to take the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hands. So it's making her more difficult for Caitlin Clark. Not one time did I see Stephanie White fix any of that. Not one time did I see Stephanie White change her strategy. Well, we're noticing that this is what they're doing for when Caitlin Clark has 10 seconds, when she has the ball with 10 seconds or less. Well, let's get into our offense more sooner. Let's run Caitlin Clark off of screens. Let's use her off the ball. Like, I'm watching this game, and I'm just very, very confused. What is the Indiana Fever's identity? And I understand that Caitlin Clark has missed games. I understand that Caitlin Clark has been out, and it's going to take some time for her to ingratiate herself back into the lineup and for the team to get used to playing with Caitlin Clark as well, for them to go on this run. But we're about to be at the halfway point of the season, and it's a potential likelihood that going into All-Star break, the Indiana Fever can be well under 500. They played the Atlanta Dream this upcoming, I think, Friday, which is one of the best teams in the WNBA. And we also know that's the real rivalry, not the Indiana Fever versus the Chicago Sky. The real rivalry is the Indiana Fever versus the Atlanta Dream. They get up for this matchup. This is a matchup where we got two former number one overall picks that have something to prove. Two all-star caliber players, two of the best guards, are going to be two of the best guards. Well, Ryan Howard's a wing, but two of the best players for the next decade that are going to be faces of this league. So it's I don't know. I just don't know, chat. I don't know. Just watching the Indiana Fever, I have a lot of concerns because some days they look amazing, some days they look phenomenal, but some days they look horrible. They look horrific. And I just hate the narratives that are going to be created because we know every time Caitlin Clark doesn't play well, even though she's coming off injury, we know the hate is loud. We know we're hearing from the national audience, we're hearing from the ESPN analysts, and they're talking about is the Indiana Fever a better team without Caitlin Clark, which is nonsensical. It's nonsense because people aren't dissecting and analyzing the game in the right way and talking about the difference between how offense has to run with Caitlin Clark, without Caitlin Clark, and the difference it makes when she's playing and when she's not playing, and how the goal is for them to combine both play styles for the Indiana Fever to be successful. Carol Peck saying that, she could have came out and said, well, the Indiana Fever, they play more different when Caitlin Clark is not on the basketball court because it's more ball movement. Natasha Howard's playing a point forward position. Her and Aaliyah Boston do a lot of high-low exchange, and it really gets Aaliyah Boston easy and open looks in comparison to there's more touches for everybody in comparison to just Caitlin Clark having the ball in her hands. But when Caitlin Clark is playing it, the gravity on the basketball court, because all the defense and the schemes are locked in and focusing on Caitlin Clark, so they do a lot of 1-4 action, allowing Caitlin Clark to have the ball at the top, high pick and roll with Aaliyah Boston, which frees up the paint, and Caitlin Clark is able to find Aaliyah Boston with easy overlooks. If she's not able to find Aaliyah Boston, she's kicking it out to the shooters, which gets some easy open shots because of Caitlin Clark's penetration ability to get to the rim. So it's different ways you can analyze and you can talk about the game of basketball without just saying like, yo, the Indiana Fever are a much dangerous team without Caitlin Clark. Well, that's not true. Caitlin Clark is, even though this year this hasn't been her best year due to her having injuries on the basketball court, Caitlin Clark is still arguably a top 5 basketball player in the world overall. Whether you want to talk about this year, yeah, top 10 basketball player this year. But overall, when we talk about the best basketball players in the world, and we talk about impact, we talk about scheme, she's a top 5 basketball player in the WNBA in the world. That's just a lock. But we know the conversation. We know how people are going to try to flip things. We know how the casuals are going to come in the chats and try to talk and discredit Caitlin Clark. But truth of the matter is, Indiana Fever they got to figure out. They got to figure out the offense, how to combine the offense of Caitlin Clark being a generator, how to combine the offense of them actually running some type of offensive system. Because as great as the WNBA is, we know why we talk about Caitlin Clark, same way we're going to talk about Juju Watkins, same way we talk about AJ Wilson, we talk about Angel Reese, we talk about Katie Arifin, we talk about Fly J coming up. We talk about all these players because the modern game finally has disruptors. The modern game has players that can now do things similar to the NBA for us not having to rely solely on sets. And we know the WNBA is everything is sets. Sets. But you got disruptors now coming that are more skilled, that are more talented, that don't need sets. They don't need necessary play call because they're so dynamic. They can get it going by themselves. And that's what we're seeing with the modern game of the WNBA. Is coming way more modernized. And that's why we're about to see how all these records that we see, Caitlin Clark, first player with 28-9 in 2 back-to-back games. Angel Reese, first player to have 15 rebounds of 5 games or more. are we seeing all these records? We're going to see all these records be demolished because the game is getting better and it's about to become more modernized, and the talent and skill set, and with these ladies that are coming and that are young right now, that's already in the league, and the ones that are coming, it's about to be a storm because now we have players that can create their own shot, that can get to the rim, that can score a variety of ways, that has a skill set and handling ability and shot making ability similar to the NBA, and what we see with everybody can create off the dribble. Everybody can handle the ball. Everybody has a skill set. There's not a lot of sets being drawn up and ran in the NBA. We're seeing the disruptors, the Caitlin Clarks. We're going to see Fly J, Angel Reese, Kiki Afarian, Sonya from DC. Olivia Miles is coming next year. Hannah Hidalgo in the future. Juju Watkins. We know what her potential looks like. Fly J is coming. Like, we got Rakia Jackson. We got some players that are about to really turn this lead up and modernize the WNBA. But that's here nor there. Thank y'all for locking in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all the social media platforms, AKS NBA Talking, the NBA Talking, the WNBA as well. It's your boy, Mon K. Smith. Always remember, faith without works is dead. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. Always acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. I'm gone, man. Peace.